Welcome everyone to this wonderful celebration of Black history. Now, I know many of you think that this is Black History Month, and for many of you it is. For me, Black history celebration is all year round, and that's because I'm Black all year round. I celebrate my heritage all year round, including the people that I love, who are Black people who have contributed so much. And today, you get to celebrate along with us. And I'm just so happy that everyone is here from near and far in your own rooms, in your own homes, and we're still together. We have a great, 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 great day for you today. But let me tell you a little bit about Maggie Bloomfield. Maggie Bloomfield is the assistant director of Poetry Street, as well as the co-host. She's also an Emmy Award winner for her work on Sesame Street. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the beautiful, talented Maggie Bloomfield.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome to Poetry Street, the room without a roof where every voice is heard. The Zoom without a roof where every voice is heard. We're so happy that you could join us today. If there's anybody here who doesn't know the history of Poetry Street, I'll try to tell it in approximately 15 seconds. It started, God, now it's like 8 years ago at the Blue Duck Bakery, thanks to Susan Dingle and Bubby Brown, who is no doubt struggling to get into this event. And we were at the Blue Duck till it closed. We tried to move someplace else. Then COVID happened. And now we have found a home on these screens. And we're so very, very grateful for it. We're now Poetry Street on the road, thanks to Chip. And we welcome everybody every month. Every month, the very last Saturday of the month from 4 to 6. And we usually generate a flyer, which I try to get circulated to everybody. We are so proud of our features today. Chip is our first feature here?
Yes, as a matter of fact, all of our features are here. And by the way, by the way, I specifically handpicked these features today, and that's because they are, in my opinion, 4 of the most strongest, beautiful, intelligent Black women I know. And a lot of times Black women are not appreciated, they are overlooked, and I wanted to make sure that we show acknowledgement and also not overlook our Black women. And these Black women, they are just magnificent. And I just want you to enjoy them and love them as much as I do.
And I'm absolutely certain you will, because all 4 of them are just friggin' amazing. I mean, look at these bios. These women are so accomplished. It's such a beautiful thing. We're so honored to have them here.
Yeah, and the thing is about their bios, the full bio is on our website, Poetry Street on the Road, in the Our Poets page. If you see their name on their homepage, just click on it, it'll take you right to their bio. Everyone that has featured at Poetry Street on the Road Zoom calls are on the Our Poets page.
Lois Moses is an award-winning actress, poet, clinician, filmmaker, director, legal scholar, and playwright. Much of her work has been focused on social justice issues and creating artistic opportunities for Black and Latinx women, and on educating and empowering Philadelphia youth through filmmaking and digital media arts. Help me welcome Lois Moses.
Okay, I guess I'm working on a piece called Epistles of Love, the Gospels according to Edgar and Clara, and I was blessed to reclaim archives from my family, and this story stood out for me because it was a conversation between my great aunt and great uncle when they were separated between the years of 1936 and 39. And the letters tell the story of really their love in the midst of not only the Great Migration, but after the Depression and dealing with separation, coming out of the Jim Crow South, getting married during the time of the Red Summer, living down in Anniston, Alabama and Birmingham, Alabama, and they end up separated. And you have to see the story for that. But what drew me to this was every letter in the archives, he started with "Dear Sweetheart." And what pulled me in was thinking about the fact, in the midst of all of the difficulties and the struggles, their ability to transverse these circumstances through the love that they had. And you could hear it in the letters and how they kept together and in the humanity. I guess that's what it is. It's Black love from a humanitarian point of view, because oftentimes we don't see the humanity of African Americans because most of our stories are laden in struggle and difficulty and being sort of the other, or being slaves as opposed to what we were was enslaved, and putting the onus on those who have created the circumstances and situations. So for me, part of my mission is what I call missing pages, and that is to put in the pages that are missing from our authentic experiences as African Americans, and also many of the stories that are just missing for various reasons, and that we can go into that for eons. But it's my own form of, I guess, reparations and repair for my community, and to pass these stories down so particularly young people know when and where they entered. And it wasn't after emancipation, we didn't go to the ghettos and then get bussed into white neighborhoods, while, for the most part, that while I call it the, I guess, looking at the, I can't even think of the word, that's old brain right there. But it's our agency, taking agency of our stories and our experiences and sharing them with the world in a dignified and in a way that restores divinity of our people. Ashe. And so that's one of the projects that I'm working on, and I think that's a good start. And I guess I will read a piece called "And Who Are We Not to Remember," because it sort of speaks to that. And this piece was written when I was in law school, because I felt like not only was I not being remembered by, or our community wasn't being remembered by the powers that be and the conversation in law school, but I felt like we weren't remembering who we were. So, and who are we not to remember? Africa, river sounding, slavery, talking drums, Jim Crow, 40 acres no more, forget the mule, nothing to pass down. The cold hand numbing, but that's a class issue, huh? Going from own to hired, still working slave wages, still steal away. Don't nobody forget, no one wants to remember. And who are we not to remember? The elite going to sleep, where there is still work to be done, and chokeholds of memories dangle discarded dreams on top of promises, still promise, still broken, the promised land, steal away, steal away. Steal away to freedom. And who are we not to remember? In the face of those who ran before us, running back, drowning in the same stream, still remembering. Who are we not to? stolen legacies. And who are we not to remember now in the era of our discontent? Guarded legalese amended this time, harboring slaveholdership after the men had gone, holding the Confederate flag strewn together. Sing Dixie for me if you can remember. While waves, they cover a sea of dry bones, a Poseidon adventure, steal away. In the classroom, sprouting dry-eyed fugitives, roaming the halls of justice, strange fruits, pallbearers of the learning tree. And who are we not to remember to sleep with anger after the eyes was on the prize, awakenings after all dreams were deferred, and we still love ourselves in the laughter, because we can't remember. Jurisprudence shuffle along until we tap the power within, sojourners of truth. Dixieland Songfest until we lift every voice to sing, remembering ourselves whole, free of patents, lifeline, lap time at the knees of older folks, carving out patch quilt artwork of our voices. 'Cause it's gonna take a healthy village to raise healthy children. I gotta say that one more time. It's gonna take a healthy village to raise healthy children. A conscious decision. And who are we not to remember? Thank you. Whew. I'm sorry. Whew. That a lot of spirits come up when that comes out for me. And I think I'm going to do this. And I don't do this poem often, but it's just been living in me. And it's called I Love You, Mothers, inspired by a Mary I never met. And it's really in honor of a woman who, after having one child for reasons beyond what needs to be said here, raised 8 of her daughter's children on her deathbed when she asked her in the hospital. And as difficult as things are, and people do the best that they can, this poem was to honor her for the sacrifices she made. And that's all that needs to be said. Hey, Black woman, looking so fine, with that tattered dream hanging over your shoulders. Time has played his part, and misery has left his mark. He has claimed you, converted you, convalesced and contorted you by the strength in his hands he has, by the beast in his soul. And Black woman, you still looking mighty fine and in control. But the storm has had its way, without mercy, caregiving, or delay. And yet you still sing praises, though your stories told have laced you with anger, and your impeccable sway has slowed to swagger. And when Papa was a rolling stone, you slept on bricks while hiding shingles so the children could stay alive, walking around dead to live here on this hellhole. And I cry for you, Mary, so that I can taste the travesty that you want me to forget. You came judged by man, knee deep in garbage, but I'll not tell you of wrongs. For you have shaved life with persistence and harvested too many choices not to be made and held too many memories without beds. I curse the nature of perfection for never kissing your lips and then waiting enthusiastically to dance tap on your grave. And I cry for you, Mary, because it hurts too much not to. Hey, Black woman, looking so fine, you marvel in erection while semen is being wasted, and you raise male children while men are missing, forever gone, never present, out and out scary, who become bigger boys, forever chasing manhood figurines, splattered and splintered with taunted dreams. And Black woman, the weight of your nature is heavy with understanding, and you glow with fury while the Black Guard knowingly hands you his burdens and then strips you naked to bare your breasts to Anglo-Saxon babies again. And I cry for you, Mary, because you drowned yourself in muddy waters so that I could breathe less pain, because you never complained, and you should have, because you grew tired and you never slept, and you needed the rest, because you gave it up before you were asked, and I wish you had waited, because I love you, mothers, and we should have taken more time to let you know, even in the throes of anger, in the proclaim bearing of our souls, in the new elitism of our lifestyles, in the coming of who we are, and the knowing of who we shall be. It's of you, mothers, grandmothers, and Marys. So I will cry for you, because you couldn't cry outside of the womb for yourselves. Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Whew. Lois, Moses, oh my gosh. You have touched my heart tremendously with that. Oh my God. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Whew.
So good. So good.
Thank you.
So powerful, Lois. Such an honor to have you here. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's all unmute for a minute and just let's hear it.
Oh, it's indelible. Indelible.
Thank you, Lois.
Awesome.
That was
Indelible.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Loved it.
So much.
Lois, beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
Stunning.
Very powerful.
Passionate.
Wow.
Lois, my God, your delivery, your words, number one, and with your delivery, it's just mountain moving.
Yes.
Just move mountains. Thank you so much for that.
Our next poet is another absolutely amazing, amazing woman. Suzanne Cade is a Harvard-educated poet and teacher, and currently a PhD candidate in comparative and international development education at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. With the power of her poem, Auctioneer, and her presentations, Suzanne has become a powerful force for racial equality, both nationally and internationally. Let's all welcome Suzanne Cade.
Thank you. Thank you for that gracious introduction. Thank you to the host for inviting me to be a part of the Poetry on the Street, on Poetry Street on the Road. Thank you so much. And greetings to everyone. I would first like to say, I feel like that was such a moving presentation previously. And so I just want to say thank you to all of the artists and poets who also will share in advance, and those who have already, for sharing your work and your gift. And I know we're going through a pandemic at this time, so I want to also say a word of encouragement to everyone. Something I heard, the sun does shine behind the clouds. So I wish everyone warmth and love and encouragement. I will begin with the poem I wrote for my grand aunt. She is currently in her 80s, and I wrote this for her birthday a few years ago, or several years ago. And I know often when we celebrate Black history, we often celebrate figures who are world renowned, even some who are less known. But I want to honor someone who is in my family. And she is a Black woman, a woman of grace, and I hope that this poem honors her. She's still living. She and my grand uncle have been married for, I think, 64 years this June. So I honor my Aunt Anna. This poem is entitled Aunt Anna. You are inspiration in a body. You are love in a vessel. You are a rose in our family. You are more than an artist. You are a painting, a human reflection of God, painted from God's heart paint. You are more than an excellent cook. You are an essential ingredient to our family and to God's plan. You are more than a vocalist. You are a harmonized note in God's song of life. You are more than a person of hands. You are a person of touch. You are more than a blossom. You are a gentle fragrance of love, an aroma inspired by God. You are inspiration in a body. You are love in a vessel. You are a rose in our family. You are Ann, Mama, Mom, G-Mommy, Aunt Anna, Auntie Grandma, Grandmother, Grandma, but to me, you will always be Aunt Anna.
Bravo, that's my mom.
And my mother-in-law. And we love her. Thank you, Suzanne. You have another one, right?
Yes, so I have one more before for now. This one is entitled Auctioneer, and I'll stand for this one. And just to introduce this poem, I would like to say that I studied abroad in college. I lived on a ship for a semester and participated as an auctioneer for a charity event while on the ship, traveling to multiple countries with over 700 college students. During this time, I participated as an auctioneer for the charity event and later reflected on my identity as an African-American woman on a ship in an auction, but not being the one auctioned. And I was inspired to write this piece.
Oh.
It is entitled Auctioneer. I am a woman of African descent. I have full lips and brown eyes, tan skin, and curvy hips. My hair is locked and I'm on a ship. It was arranged for me to be on a ship selling from America to Africa and to America again, and an auction on this ship. In front of every blue eye, in front of every European, in front of every Filipino, in front of every Puerto Rican, in front of every Chinese, in front of every Brazilian, in front of every Russian, in front of every Asian, in front of every American, in front of every other African descendant, in front of every woman, child, and man. Every eye on me, every ear listening for the bid. We'll start this bid off with $400. Can I get $450? $500, $950, going once, going twice. Sold for $950. Going once, going twice. Going back to when bidding was a slave device. Going once, going twice, going back to when bidding was not for charity or out of charity love. Going once, going twice, going back to when bidding was beating the human life like a drum to mark the harmonious rhythms of Africa's music, where the earth was the drum and the hands were the feet. Going once, going twice, going back to when slaves were dead before they were allowed to be alive. Going once, going twice, going back to 1865. Going once, going twice, going back to the blood of slaves that darkened the hue of the blue. Going once, going twice, going to honor the drops that are left in the waves that push this ship forward. Going once, going twice, going until we can rewind the time of the slaver, where bodies were chained together, flat, sick, worse than the school of fish beneath them, so close they couldn't breathe and too many died on the journey. Going once, going twice, going until we can rewind the time to see the skull of the Black man, Black woman, and their child, who had dreams undreamed, goals unset, mouths untrodden, words unspoken, wisdom ungiven, inventions frozen until the next generation, because their DNA only carried the potential. The dreamer was thrown overboard. Going once, going twice, going until we go again to rewind the time when the Black jumped in the blue to escape the red, becoming anemic in a world of hate. The world on the ship, anemic, lacking oxygen in his H2O. The blood from his veins of respect tainted as it drained from his body, as the flesh of his respect and right to be human was torn from the skeleton that held it together. Going once, going twice, going until we rewind the time to the shores of Africa, where the first ships left. Going once, going twice, going until we rewind the line to see the bloodline left. marked on the sea, to see the bloodline that left Africa on a ship and came to America to have a body. Going once, going twice, that bloodline traveled the miles to be auctioned fresh off the sea. That bloodline traveled to America to have a body and be sold. Going once, going twice, going until we find the time when blacks, bare feet shackled, first entered the slave ship, the torture ship, the degraded ship, the beating ship, the auction ship, sold. Going once, going twice, going until we fast forward past that blood-soaked, chain-filled disease with hatred. Human product, cargo slave ship on the sea. Going forward fast past the past, but slow enough to see that it was a reality. Going once, going twice, going until we go past and hear the cries in native mother tongues. Going once, going twice, going until we hear the soul speak. Going once, going twice, going forward past the past, but over the same exact sea. Going once, going twice, until you see me. I am a woman of African descent. I have full lips and brown eyes, tan skin, and curvy hips. My hair is locked and I'm on a ship. Going once, going twice. All eyes on me. I'm not for sale. Going once, going twice. It's my voice you hear. I'm not for sale. I'm the auctioneer. I'm not auctioning human beings, neither am I watching my brothers and sisters in chains of slavery. The blood of my ancestors has traveled in my body to this year, and instead of being auctioned off, I'm a 21-year-old Black woman auctioneer. My shod feet were graced by many ships before my presence entered this ship. I saw many ships before I ever saw the naked bare sea. Family ship, fellowship, relationship, caring ship, friendship, love ship, support ship, education ship, scholarship, fellowship, school ship, college ship, life ship, knowledge ship, 21 ship, and all the ships I boarded before I boarded the MV Explorer Suzanne at sea ship. I'm on the ship to be a world traveler, not to be a world commodity. I'm on the ship to learn and grow and enhance my scholarship and personship, my me ship. When I jump overboard, it's not in the blue. I'm jumping over narrow-mindedness and leaping into 13 cultures plus cultures on the ship, 12 countries and multi-worlds, many different worlds, time zones, life zones, poverty zones, wealthy zones, religious zones, dance zones, movement zones, heated zones, hated zones, cold zones, reality zones, clock zones, sea zones, language zones, eating zones, food zones, people zones. I'm on a ship and I am selling, not to be auctioned, not to be sold. Yet I still find people who think the story should rewind and be retold, with me under their oppression, and instead of hearing my voice leading, hearing theirs say, sold. There are no slaves here. The only slaves are those who trap their own minds and feet. Going once, going twice. Can this bid be for life? Going once, going twice. Can this bid be beat? Going once, going twice. This is a new reality. Going once, going twice. I didn't come on this ship in chains. Going once, going twice. I have royal blood in my mind veins. Going once, going twice. I'm following the map like Jesus gave to me. Going once, going twice. I'm being shaped into who I was created to be. Going once, going twice. My ancestors' blood is in my mind's eye. Going once, going twice. I've seen the same day twice. When I hear the ocean splash, it's not my body that's hitting it. Going once, going twice, my thought ships of my family are not questions of why we were all sold separately. My thought ships of my family are exclamations of celebrations of when we'll meet again and be home together, our love united again in person with a deeper hue of attachment and appreciation. Before we parted and I bid them adieu, I let the air echo. As my thoughts cross the sea, I'll think of thee. Going once, going twice, I'm on a ship in an auction of good sport and great cheer. I'm helping raise money for charity. I am the auctioneer. Going once, Nassau, Bahamas, sold once, San Juan, Puerto Rico, sold once, Salvador, Brazil, sold once, Cape Town, South Africa, sold once, Port Louis, Mauritius, sold once, Chennai, India, sold once, Penang, Malaysia, sold once, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, sold with tears. Going once, Hong Kong, China, sold once, Shanghai, China, sold once, Honolulu, Hawaii, sold once, Kobe, Japan, sold once, Punta Arenas, Costa Rica, sold once, Panama Transit Canal, sold. Going once, the opportunity of a lifetime. Sold to the auctioneer whose ancestors were auctioned. Going once, going twice, going up, going down, going in, going out, going through pressure, going through pain, going through counting the cost of what will be lost, who will be helped, and what will be gained. Going over oceans, going over seas, going over rough waters, sea legs swimming in a new reality, stepping in new clothes, stepping in new shoes, stepping in new steps, but still running, being true to the false game that once sold my ancestors as slaves, that once auctioned off future auctioneers, that made up rules blacks couldn't read, being true to the false game long enough to learn it, then change its name and how it's played in the reality of this new day. Going once, going twice, to sleep in their eyes that hate you. Going once, going twice, this is a part of the world trip package too. Do you still want to choose it? Going once, going twice, learning languages, how to communicate without talking in native tongues, but talking in movements, action. Love in action. Love is in action anyway, not any way you choose, but in any way love chooses to act or react, respond. Listening to songs, hearing the same music to different beats, hearing a different pulse, but still a human heart beating. Riding a different mode of transportation, but still motored and entered by human feet. Rickshaw, moped, bicycle, tricycle, water taxi, head bobble, right hand. Look to the left, but don't use the left hand. The right hand is the right hand. Look to the right. Banana leaf, plate, chopsticks, fork, soup, and sushi. It all comes back to the sea, back to the ship. Going once, going twice, going home in 7 thrice. 3 weeks sailing, 21 days more, 21 sunrises, 21 sunsets over the sea, before I get to open the door of my welcome home with this new reality. Before I get to tell all my stories yet untold, 21 days to sail, 21 years old. Going once, going twice, unsold. I'm not for sale. I'm selling. Age 21 years. I'm not for sale. I'm selling as the auctioneer.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Bravo!
Just superhuman you are. Superhuman you are. Wow. Maggie?
Thank you.
I'm kind of speechless.
I mean, how could you not be? I mean, come on now, Suzanne. I mean, really, the power in that piece, the love, the feelings. I mean, it's like that. Every word that you said was just like I felt it from the core of my very being, and I just thank you so much for that. You are just incredible, spectacular. Thank you, magnificent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. And she's just starting out. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being with us today. So far this afternoon has just been overwhelming and so amazing. I can't get over it.
I know my cup runneth over.
Yes. Yes, and a reminder that you can get the full bios of these wonderful, amazing poets on our website. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's this line that says, our poets, everybody's there. Wow. Okay. All right. All right. Miss Higginbotham is an attorney and MBA whose professional energies are focused on advocating for human and civil rights. She is a community activist whose work largely addresses matters of race, politics, children, and women. She enjoys opinion writing, public speaking, community organizing, and teaching, and she has made time for us out of her busy schedule, and we are so honored. Helen Higginbotham.
How is everyone? Thank you so much for inviting me. This is an honor to be on the same platform with Lois and Suzanne. Of course, I should preface this, I am not a poet. I write, and I'll put in the link, my blog, I write a lot all the time. And I wrote a piece that Chip just loved, so I'm going to read it for you all, and I hope that you will take this journey with me. It's very short, won't be, like the other ladies, but it's what I wrote. And I call it, I lived in Harlem, I live in Jersey now. I think you hear a train going by, so I'll try and talk through it. But I lived in Harlem at the time that I wrote this, and it's about an experience that I had one night in a braiding salon. And I don't know if you all can relate to that, but Black barbershops, beauty salons, anything like that, it's a very unique experience. And this one just really touched me. So I call it Sister Love on a Harlem Night. I am a Black American in Harlem. It is late in the evening and I am in an African hair braiding salon. They stay open until customers are no more. Goodbye, Afro. I love my fro, but it needs a break. The shop is shared with a Latin barbershop. Spanish music is winning in the competition of sound against Nollywood movies blaring from the boob tube in the braid salon. The Muslim women kneel in separate corners in prayer. Other women are selling clothes, makeup, and food. A brother comes in selling earrings, another selling toothpaste. An Asian woman came in trying to sell Black people bootleg DVDs. Go figure. There's a lot going on here, and I'm taking it all in. The African women are loud and spirited, as are Black American women when we gather. They are, however, seemingly more animated. They laugh heartily. They all talk at once. Their language is foreign. Their spirit is familiar. Uh-oh, a Black American sister is going off because her braids, which are beautiful, don't look like the picture. I understand that. My African sisters, however, are holding their own, defending their sister and her intricate cornrow work. It looks like artwork. It really does. I want to defend her too, but I dare not. I am staying in my lane. 4.5 hours later, and voila, I am done. The joint is quiet. Most have left. 2 customers remain. The now pleased Black American woman who admits that she will return, and a young Latina woman who has never had braids before. Her scalp is killing her. She wonders how she will sleep tonight and tells me she has a report to work at Nordstrom's Rack at 5 a.m. Lord, did she say Nordstrom's Rack? That is my weakness. I need not know that there is one nearby. I tell her sleep won't come easy tonight, but assure her that she will be fine in just a day or 2. Okay, back into these Harlem streets. Wish I could find in this city that never sleeps somewhere to get a pedicure and an eyebrow wax at 11 p.m. Not likely. I might walk home, but as it's a little late, I'd better bust it. Good night, folks. So I hope you were in the shop with me.
I was definitely in the shops, and I know how people come in to sell items to us. Everything, no matter what. Yeah, I got toothpaste, I got socks, I got CDs, I got DVDs, everything and anything. Thank you so much, Helen, for sharing that.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you. Let us please unmute and thank these wonderful, talented, beautiful women for their work today.
Excellent. Great job.
Suzanne, Helen, Lois, awesome.
Awesome work.
You women, you ladies rock. You rock.
It is time for the open mic. If you have not signed up for the open mic, please do so on chat. Chip is going to introduce the readers for that event. We're looking forward to hearing all of you and like calming down a little.
Good luck with that one.
Good luck with that today. All right, Chip, take it away.
Right. So the rules for the open mic is that you have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes to do your poem. You may want to leave the opening out in the beginning if your poem is a little bit long, because we just want to get to that poem. But if you need that opening, go ahead, but you have 3 minutes to do it, please, so we can get as many people in as possible. Okay, so the first person that I have up is actually a surprise. There's a person that I want to honor that's honoring another person. So you'll see who that is. So I'm going to share my screen and get right to it.
That magnificent black bard who has now passed on, Langston Hughes. One day he wrote a poem entitled Mother to Son. The mother didn't always have her grammar right, but she uttered words of great symbolic profundity. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stad. It's had tacks in it, boards torn up, places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I's been a-climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you stop now. Don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find this kind of hard. But I still going, boy. I still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal stair. But we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. King. That poem, Mother to Son, was the first poem my mother read to me. And that's the person that I'm honoring the most. I'm honoring both my parents today, Andrew Emmanuel Williford and my mother, Juanita Bell Williford. My mother took me in the car and played that for me. It was on NPR radio station. And that inspired me to start writing poetry. When you have something that you're dealing with as a child, and you think that no one wants to be your friend and that you're all alone and you only have yourself, you have to dig deep down in yourself to bring something out that's beautiful. And my mother was very instrumental in doing that. And I just want to honor her today. And because I am honoring Black women, I also want to honor Phyllis Wheatley. Phyllis Wheatley was born in West Africa. And she was kidnapped and taken to the Americans on that long journey and became a slave. She was enslaved, and then she finally got her freedom and was able to sue for her son's freedom after running away. And Phyllis Wheatley was a great American poet, and I'd like to honor her. Now, during our open mic, I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to ask that you state your name and then state one, at least just one African American. It could be someone present or someone that has passed that you would like to honor today, if you will. I would really appreciate that. Okay? All right. So we're going to start the open mic. I'm going to ask Bill Batcher if Bill will please unmute himself and please start us off with the open mic.
Okay. Hi. Down in Bermuda, right in front of the Parliament building, there's a statue to a lady named Sally Bassett. And yet most people that go to Bermuda on vacation or whatever have never heard of her, don't know her story. I've written this poem to her. She was a Black lady, a slave, who was accused of being a witch and was burned at the stake in Bermuda. I suggest that sometime this evening, you Google her. It's Sally Bassett. And the name of the poem is Sally Bassett Day. The sun had quickly boiled off the dew from sparse Bermuda grass. Miss Cobusier had brought a parasol to shield her fair white face. The boys and girls were running through the streets. No use to hurry, Sally said to them. The phone won't start till I get there. Her head held high with sweat from heat, not fear. She walked along Crow Lane with measured tread. Chief Justice Outerbridge, for justice' sake, pronounced the sentence worthy of a witch. She stood in silence. Someone lit a switch to kindle branches piled round the stake, and Sally Bassett died. The day was hot. A quiet purple flower marks the spot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. That was awesome. I love every time you read that poem. Brings chills to my arms. Thank you so much. Doreen Spungen, if you would please read for us.
Thank you so much. What a wow. Talk about speechless. What an afternoon, my God. Um, to pick one person, to pick one Black person to honor is very difficult. But Michelle Obama, why not? Michelle Obama, who is such just everything, just showed us how. So here are two little poems. I hope they're little enough, tiny. This is from my book. It's called Imagine Waking. Imagine waking, floating in space or in an ocean, not knowing where you are or who you are or what you look like. Imagine meeting another being without knowing where you are, who you are, what you look like. Perhaps you would accept this other as companion, as friend, as brother or sister. Perhaps no one would carry the name enemy. Perhaps, but this is a dream, isn't it? And this one, because so much of the things that I write are dark, this is called Sermon on a February Morning, and I just wrote it a few days ago. There's darkness in the sunlight. Every candle has been lit. Every sun is echoing the light, but not a bit of it is translating into joy. Not a note of gladness here. Do not hide out in the darkness, waiting for the murk to clear. But turn from truth and headlines, go to places deep inside. It's better than alternatives if we're choosing to survive. Why not bake a cake of uplift, drive to places quite remote from the sorrow that surrounds us? Try a happy little boat of old memories and freedom from the worry that imprisons. Dance around a little garden, watch as better stars are risen. We can make it through this nightmare. We can do it. Yes, we can. Join together, dedicated, every woman, every man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was great. That was great. Gwen Newsom will be our next speaker.
Nussbaum.
Thank you. It's Nussbaum.
Nussbaum.
Gwen
How come I can't get that right? Nussbaum.
Hey.
It's right here in front of you.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think anybody. I love women, and I can tell you that. But I got the assignment wrong, so I want to talk about Robert Hayden. And his poem is called Those Winter Sundays. So this is about fathers, and I want to read this in honor of my father who recently passed. Robert Hayden was a poet laureate from 1976 to 1978. He was, I think, the first African-American poet laureate. He was a consultant in poetry for the Library of Congress. And also, so this is called Those Winter Sundays. And Robert Hayden was born in 1913 and he died in 1980. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house, speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices?
Nice. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Rebecca T would be our next person. And Rebecca, if you could tell us where you're from, and also you don't have to pick African American woman. It could be an African American woman or a man. that you want to just honor today. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for this. You just don't know how great it feels to that you're all here and that we're all on the same page, giving honor to some great American people. Rebecca.
Hi, thank you. This is my first time attending. I kind of jumped on and wasn't really prepared, but I'm also just so overwhelmed with the writing and the delivery. You all are so amazing, and I'm truly inspired. So I actually didn't come with a poem to share. I'm sorry, but off the top of my head, when you asked that question, what came to mind for me was Lorraine Hansberry. Who was the other? Maya Angelou, and a dear friend of mine, Miss Myrtle Williams. So 3 amazing African-American women in my life through literature, and personally, I've been truly blessed. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm very inspired.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming in. And Poetry Street welcomes everyone, those who want to read and those who just want to be in the room where people are sharing their work, because poetry is from the heart, and that's where it's shared from, and that's where it comes from. Maria Anderson is another one that's just going to make you cry, especially if she talks about her son. And, you know, I try to hold myself together, but we'll see what happens. Maria Anderson.
Hi. Okay. The one I wrote a little while ago. It's about my son and my brother, of course. I'm sorry, Chip. I'm sorry. It's called Do You See Them? Most people have no idea what it's like to live in fear. Not for yourself, but for your kids, because they have a tint. To let them leave, knowing them returning isn't a guarantee. It's always been a fear of mine, but more so recently. Let me explain. When you look at him, do you see him? Do you only see his tan skin? Can you see the hyper toddler, or do you see a slave and an immigrant? When you see him in sweatpants, do you see a young criminal, or do you see a child that likes comfort? Can you see the child eager to learn underneath his darker color? My son is a beautiful mix of 14 colors, cultures, traditions, and different walks of all kinds of life. Do you look at him and see something other than a toddler that's hyper, loving, has the ability to ask 5 million questions in a day? My brother is a smart-mouthed, kind-hearted child. He's messy and lazy, but he can also be so loving it surprises you. He's passionate and silly and totally enamored with his one and only nephew. But you can't see any of that, can you? Do you see the 2 children that will grow up to be men? Or do you see them growing up to be thugs and gangbangers because, God forbid, they're actually intelligent or kind? Can you see the human children as you should, where color or race plays no part in identifying them? Or do you see a target, an enemy, someone to be hated? Child or not, can you see without blood red glasses on? The youngest child to be killed by the police was 7. My son just turned 5. A lot of them were between the ages of 10 and 17. My brother is 15. I'm not asking for much. I just want people to see my boys as exactly what they are. Innocent boys, children that need to be loved and cared for, to be turned into nurtured and loving young men.
Wow, thank you so much, Maria. I'm not done with you yet. You're gonna have to put him on your lap. The people have to see your son.
Isaiah, come here, baby. Come here, really quick.
Come on, they gotta see him. He is just,
come on,
he is just so doggone adorable. And also, while you're waiting, I want you to introduce Bubby, because I know that you have a special connection with Bubby, as do I.
I do. I love Bubby. This is my son.
Look at him. Look at him. He's adorable.
Hi.
Hi. And Maria talks about the elephant.
This is my elephant.
Yeah, can you see that poem with the elephant, the one with the elephant? About the
I
elephant?
don't have that one with me.
Okay,
but
next
it's,
time.
I don't even remember most.
I'm not gonna put you on the spot this time, but that poem, you're gonna have to come back and do it. We want you to feature on us, you know, beautiful mother, beautiful woman. And today is your day. We celebrate you, Maria Anderson. Now, can you tell us about Bubby?
Oh gosh, where do I start with Bubby? Bubby is actually the one that got me into sharing my writing. He is a huge figure in our church. He helps everybody. He has the biggest heart. He is, I don't even know where to begin with Bubby. He's an amazing poet. He's an amazing person. He touches everybody he meets. And this is going to be so special.
Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen,
gonna cry.
Bubby Brown.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I just don't know I don't know what to say. What I can tell you this, that I am an extremely blessed person. And I've said this before, I am a living example of God doing extraordinary things through very ordinary people. Because I am nothing more than an ordinary person who God has blessed. That's all I can say. You know, and just meeting you, Chip, and Maria and Susan and Maggie, they're huge people in my life, and I'm not of this era. I'm of dial telephones and stuff like that, but and they actually brought me into being able to even be on Zoom and stuff like this. But I'm telling you, I am surrounded by a bunch of blessed people all day. Lord, I've got this problem, and I don't quite know what to do. I know the problem lies with me, but I've always come to you. You know I've never been a bigot, because you made us all in this earthly place. I've never hated anyone, but I'm very conscious of my race. Now therein lies the problem, the one I now present to you. Folk down here are getting all messed up, and I can't tell who is who. Back in my early childhood days, day was day and night was night. All I had to recognize was who's black and who was white. Lord, now we've mixed in yellow, some brown, and even red. My mama's this, my daddy's that. Lord, it's messing with my head. I remember the good old days, brothers walking down the street, raise a fist or give a sign in that special way we greet. Try that in this day and age. You'll get a look totally bland. You may even get cussed out in a language you can't understand. My God, I can't believe it. You've answered me again. I guess it takes a talk with you to help us understand. Back in the day when black and white were so easy to discern, 'twas the morning of my life on earth, time for me to learn. That brilliant yellow ray of sun that greet the start of day are preambles to the red of dusk, signaling another stretch of time has passed away. The golden brown of noonday time, the sun directly over your head, halfway through the black and white, halfway through breakfast to bed. Black, the white, the yellow, the brown, the red and blending of hue. They are ours in the times in our lives we all must meander through. And every day is a blessing. Every day part that's in it. Love, cherish, adore it all. Each second and hour and minute. How can I detest the yellow of dawn or the browning noonday sun? For they are parts of that complete me, the puzzle parts that make us one. Forgive me, Father, my unkind thoughts or foolish things my tongue may say. Help me understand folk who don't resemble me are just hours in your whole day.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Bubby, for that. Now, what Black American would you like to honor today?
Langston Hughes.
All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. So we're going to ask Elaine Winston to please read a poem.
So it's been kind of a harsh month weather-wise, and so I wanted to kind of focus on the weather and also as a metaphor to what's going on in society and the harshness, especially related to African American history. So I'm going to honor today Julia Wright, who published her father's poems, Richard Wright, who was a poet and was an author and wrote often on the concerns of discrimination. So because I wanted to write about the nature, I also wanted to learn more about haiku. I actually have Richard Wright's haiku book sitting next to my bed. It's incredible. So I'm going to read, I wrote these during this month, short haiku. There'll be 3. Asylum from cold, life waiting at home beneath new blankets of snow. Bundle up to view brilliant stars at the edge of our vast galaxy. And my third little haiku, lone crane calls at dusk, returns on a warm, drenched wind. Welcome memory. So, thank you.
Wow, that was cool. That was cool. Thank you so much, Elaine. Okay. All right. So I would like to, there's Karen Chateau. I know she's going to correct me on the pronouncing of her name, but Karen, if you could unmute and first of all pronounce your name and tell us where you're from. And
I'm Karen Schulte. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Karen, are you going to read for us today?
I do have a poem, and I just want to say that the African American that I would like to honor is Rita Dove, who twice was poet laureate and who has written some amazing poems. That's my contribution.
Thank you.
This poem is called Unknown. Something always escapes notice, the smallest gesture, the lift of an eyebrow, scent of blossoms through a car's window. Your hand sweeps away a mote of dust. Mine lifts to put my hair in place. Laughter, yours or mine, slides its way downstairs. An avalanche of small things, quiet as a house spider inching its way on white tile, an aphid enjoying the sweet tomato plant. Tomorrow, another minute distraction, spider or fly, sound or scent, the universe wrapped in diaphanous layers of sheerness barely seen. But there it is, written in equations and proofs. We have it all figured out. Stand vertical to the sun, know nothing beyond us in a cosmos so vast it disappears in stardust.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pramila Vecasta Warren is a former Nassau County Poet Laureate, and she has featured on Poetry Street before. Her full bio, and also the tape that we made of her is on Poetry Street on the road.com. So please check that out. Okay. And this program tonight will also be on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com. Pramila Precasta-Warren, thank you.
Thank you, Chip. And it's just so wonderful to be here. Wonderful poems, Suzanne and Lois. Just enjoyed it. I can honor, there were so many names, African-American poets that came to my mind, but I decided that I would honor Jupiter Hammond. Jupiter Hammond wrote his first book was published in 1760. He grew up as a slave in the Lloyd estate in Lloyd Neck, right here, Long Island, the North Shore. What's interesting is that I worked in Friendswold College, which is on Lloyd Estate. And when I was writing this book, 13 Days to Let Go, I was writing on the theme of loss, etc. And so I wrote this poem, which is included in this volume. So I'll read that to you. This poem is called Sanctuary, to Jupiter Hammond, and the epigraph is from one of his poems. Believe me now, my Christian friends, believe your friend called Hammond. You cannot to your God attend and serve the God of Mammon. And here goes my poem. This soil you trod, which the Indians tilled, I too walked this path when I taught in a Quaker school at the head of the bay. You found your voice in your Christ. I found mine in fits and starts, guiding young minds toward a beacon. Our colors mix to make the soil rich. Your voice I find in the wind that whips up my love to dance to your music. I collect lines like shells on your beach and place them like steps to reach a holy place away from the lure of Mammon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Also, Pramila is just like, like one of these superwomen. She's like, everywhere. Any type of program I give, she's always available and she's always there for me. I love you so much, Pramila, and thank you so much. And it took me forever to learn how to pronounce her last name, but I got it down. Precasta-Warren.
We'll practice some more.
I know, right? Practice makes perfect. That's what they say. Okay, so Judy Turek, I'm going to go to you and tell us where you're from and tell us what African American you would like to honor today, and then read your poem.
Thank you. I'm Judy Turek. I'm from East Meadow. Time was we didn't have all these different states coming in. It was like a big thing to be in Nassau County, not Suffolk County. So this is beautiful. This is a wonderful collection of people. I'd like to honor Toni Morrison.
Just wonderful.
Awesome.
Great novel. I want to thank you, Lois. Thank you, Suzanne. And thank you, Helen. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Maggie. This is, what a wonderful day. What a wonderful day. So this is a brand new poem that I just wrote, and I know that all of you know someone just like this. Random acts. No fanfare, no headlines or breaking news alert, just a heart reaching out in support and encouragement, silent as quarters dropped in an expired meter for a stranger. Paying for the family of 5 standing behind you online at Arby's, calculating what they could and couldn't afford to have. Holding traffic amidst honking horns for a runaway dog, cat, squirrel, duck. to safely cross the road. No reason to trumpet these actions. These random acts of kindness flow through with little time spent rationalizing good deeds, a natural part of someone whose joy is abundant. I love reading and hearing about these gifts, recipients bubbly with amazement that these people do their thing. I wish, oh, how I wish there were more givers for more receivers to praise. And then I met you. No heavenly choir sang out your name, no red carpet or paparazzi parade when we met, no reason to think that you were shielding your angelic wings behind you. I didn't wear a sign that said, I need help, didn't take out an ad that I was in over my head, couldn't find the answers to questions on red alert deadline. There you were, offering not a handout, not a pity party, guilt trip, do a good thing today because someone might be watching. No thought to time or inconvenience or degree of difficulty to assist me. You just did. And now I know that it's what you do, how your soul reaches across despair to bring a smile and relief. My gratitude is a sunburst of gladness. Maybe it's no big deal to you, but for me, it's mountains more than that. No, it's not random that you were there to take on my problem as if your own, tenacious to keep at it when I had given up for the 1000th time. No, nothing random. I saw the fingers of your soul reach out, felt them touch my cheek, invited them to rest a while in my heart, where I can reach in and reach out to someone in need, following your lead. Nothing random about that.
Nice. Thank you so much, Judy. And I do know someone like that. That that reminds me of that. Gladys Henderson is a former poet laureate, and she's just an incredible person. She's like the mother of Poetry Street. Gladys Henderson, would you please read for us?
Thank you so much, Chip. Well, certainly a person that I want to know and want to continue to know would be you, Chip, and what you've done for Poetry Street. And I really have to say to you, we all here are gathered because of your contributions, and God bless you, and may life always give you only the very best, that we might knit this fabric of love over and over again.
I love you, Gladys. Thank you so much.
I love you, Chip.
The world to me. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a poem that I wrote for the birthday of Marjorie Day, who was at her 100th birthday, and Susan Dingle asked me to write a poem for her birthday. I knew Marjorie because I had met her a couple of times at Poetry Street, but 100 years old deserves a little splash, if not more. And ironically, all of our America was in a uproar and was disintegrating, and at the same time elevating both simultaneously about the whole issues of what was happening, not just for the first time, but yet still the 100,000th time for every young Black man or woman or child that was hurt. And I was totally moved because we were in the pandemic, and we were very, very frightened, and very, very frightened of dying. And yet there was this huge group of people in every race willing to march against the death of men and women of color at the hands of policemen. And as much as I wanted to write a sweet poem, this is the poem that came. A poem for your birthday, for Marjorie Day on the occasion of her 100th birthday. On this day, low clouds hold up a June sky, and the lake that is always mostly calm is troubled by a fierce wind. It curls its way around the belly of the pond, hemming in the shoreline, lifting dangerously high the flight of gulls and geese. Irises and roses have started their display of exquisiteness. Doves have made pairs. They run after each other, playing tag and catch me if you can. And St. Mary's plays its carillon. I sing a song of the saints of God, and I sing along. A childhood memory spurs me to find the words. Breeze trembles the newly emerged maple leaves. They curl in unison like the mouths of evangelical choristers singing with urgency. Perhaps that listeners might find peace. Heaven has helped me on this day, this beautiful day with its array, because I've been asked to write a birthday poem for you. But I cannot ignore that America is burning. Today, thousands of men and women are marching, more willing to die from the virus than to keep their silence any longer. They crusade for the right to live in an America free from prejudice, and those police that entitle themselves to slaughter men and women of color. You've lived 100 years, and this lake, with its loveliness, has hardly changed in all those years. I give you this poem and pray, with heaven's help, on your 101st birthday, America will have finally changed, and we'll be free at last. Free at last.
Thank you so much, Gladys. And beautiful full poem for a beautiful woman, Marjorie Day. I met her at Poetry Street, and she is beautiful, just a beautiful spirit, a beautiful woman. And I appreciated meeting her, and definitely appreciate you dedicating the poem to her today. Donna Sherrill, would you, can you tell us where you're from and who you're honoring today, and read your poem, please?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Donna, and I live in Comac, and the person that I know, she's very popular, but one of my greatest heroines is Harriet Tubman. I've learned a lot more about her life in the past couple of years because there's a movement called Women on 20s, and it's trying to put a woman on our currency, which is long overdue. And in researching who I wanted to nominate, I chose Harriet Tubman because she just accomplished so much, and she suffered from migraines, which I do, and it was just amazing to me how much she accomplished given her health problems, and she just did so much for the people that you know, she was trying to help, and she really gave her life for others. The poem that I'm going to read, and I have to say I'm just kind of blown away here today. This is my first time being on Poetry Street. I know Chip through Multicultural Diversity, and Pramila has, I've been in writing classes with Pramila for a long time. But for the first poem, my first poem that I want to read as part of this, my involvement in this group, is a poem by someone else, and her name is Imelda May. She's an Irish singer and poet, and she has a message for Irish Americans. And I just have to, I lost the page. Hold on a second. Sorry.
No worries. I mean, you saw me trying to share my screen. So,
I'm not even going to try that. So
yeah, so we're
something
good.
else because I'll totally mess it up.
You definitely wait for you to flip through your pages and find your page.
I read it. Forget it.
You're beautiful, sweetheart. Beautiful.
So I believe that what's this poem I read last summer, and it was her response to what happened to George Floyd, and it really it spoke to me, and I feel like it's a hopeful message that I hope that others will feel the same way. It's reminding Irish Americans who may not know about their past, what happened in Ireland, oppression by the English, and really to the point of genocide and discrimination. Were discriminated against when they came to the US, but despite that, they've either forgotten or don't know about the fact that within a generation or two, because they were white, Irish immigrants, they enjoyed the benefits of white privilege. And within a structure that of systemic racism that had already been in place when they came here in the mid-1800s, it was well in place already, but they benefited from that. And when they fled the famine, and I think this poem is speaking to that history and what Irish Americans need to remember about that and how it relates to today. The poem is called "You Don't Get to Be Racist in Irish." You don't get to be racist in Irish. You don't get to be proud of your heritage, plights and fights for freedom while kneeling on the neck of another. You're not entitled to sing songs of heroes and martyrs, mothers and fathers who cried as they starved in a famine, or of brave-hearted, soft-spoken poets and artists lined up in a yard, blindfolded and bound, waiting for Godot and point blank to sound. We immigrated, we took refuge, so cannot refuse when it's our time to return the favor. Land stolen, spirits broken, bodies crushed and swollen, unholy tokens of Christ nailed to a tree that you hang around your neck. Like a noose of the free, our color pasty, our accents thick, hands like shovels, from mortar and bricklaying foundation of cities you now stand upon, our suffering seeps from every stone your opportunities arise from. Outstanding on the shoulders of forefathers and foremothers who bore your mother's mother, our music is for the righteous, our joys have been earned, well-deserved and served to remind us to remember more Blacks, more dogs, more Irish, still labeled leprechauns, mixed, paddies, louts. We're shouting to tell you our land, our laws are progressively out there. We're in a chrysalis state of emerging into a new and more beautiful era, 40 shades better. Unanimous in our rainbow vote, we've found our stereotypical pot of gold, and my God, it's good. So join us, cause you don't get to be racist and Irish.
Thank you so much for that. That was, the awareness of that is profound. Thank you so much. I know Helen's posting a lot of Black people that we should honor. Rodney King, Fannie Lou Hamer. She was one for the books. I mean, Fannie Lou Hamer. She was registering to vote. She got her registration card. She went to vote. They held her up voting. Then she tried to register people to vote. They locked her in jail. And not only when they locked her in jail, they beat her. She was in a protest. They locked her in jail with a lot of other people from the movement that was trying to register people to vote. And the police beat her while she was in jail really bad. Not only did they beat her, the police made the other prisoners, the other protesters that was in the prison cell with her, beat her too. and she came out and she still registered people to vote. So she's definitely one that we definitely want to honor today, Fannie Lou Hamer. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Okay, we have someone new to Poetry Street, and we love, love, love welcoming new people. Balam, I want Balam to please tell us who you are and where you're from and who you would like to honor today. And read your poem, please, Balam.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Balam Pineda Puente from Sinaloa, Mexico. I'm Mexican. I used to live in the US for a couple of years. And the African American that I would like to honor is Oscar Michaud, because I'm really into movies and film theory, and he was the very first Black American to direct movie. You know, in the times where the white supremacists were actually releasing this Ku Klux Klan manifesto, right? The movie by Dwight Griffiths. So I really admire his work. And this poem is called My Incel Uncle. I wrote this shorter version in English from a larger poem that I originally wrote in Spanish. And it's heavy, but it's honest. So I hope you like it. My Incel Uncle. He played my sex like a piano. I felt ashamed that I had an erection, didn't ask for that. And my own body scent turned worm-like. With his rough right palm, my incel uncle excavated an open pit mine in my 8-year-old chest. Walls and ceiling rapidly transmuted into voyeuristic accomplices. The clock flinched and walked out of the room, leaving no air and no kids behind. After many years that my uncle had been down playing piano, I felt like demanding the architects of the world an explanation. Felt like inquiring the God Almighties with all their cigarettes about what they were doing the night that one impoverished bricklayer poured myself into his cup. Boy, it could have been worse, they might have answered. Could have used all his ammo. Such a relief he didn't. Such a relief he just taught me a lesson of man in the making 101. Such an ease I only had to bear this deep shame that stares at me with the eye of 1,000 muted willows. The house that saw everything still lives in the very same uncle. No one in my very heteronormative family knows about that night. And even if they knew, they would never really know. And the now semi-closed, open pit mine keeps on stitching. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that very personal and very moving and very universal poem, because you're not the only one. That's for sure.
I know.
And I really appreciate you so much, and please continue to come back to Poetry Street. We love that, and that was just awesome. But Bernard Hicks, I want you to unmute yourself if you could. I didn't see your name, but I just want to make sure that we don't skip over you, Bernard Hicks.
Don't worry. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for having me. My name is Bernard Hicks. I'm a child of the 60s, born in the Bronx, Harlem-raised child, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I would like to give a warm thank you to Ms. Judy Turrett for welcoming a novice into the poetry world. This has been a wonderful experience, what she has done for me. The two Black African-American women who I would like to honor recently just touched my soul, grabbed my emotions, and made me think in a totally different way. Two great African-American women. And I would like to honor Ms. Lois Moses and Ms. Suzanne Cade, two great African women that I will never forget from this day forward. Thank you.
Suzanne Cade.
Suzanne Cade?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Suzanne Cade, my apologies. You have captured my soul, my emotions, and my thoughts. You have made me think a different way, and it's much appreciated. Much appreciate you. Um, I started mentally writing this poem my first day of quarantine, March 16, 2020, and started manually writing it 3 weeks ago when I realized how I was utilizing my time differently than when I was in quarantine. I've had time to accept my new norm and reappreciate the time before me. The title of this poem, I've had time to. I've had time to watch Madam C.J. Walker work magic to Black women's hair, living in the true hustler spirit and become America's first woman self-made millionaire. I've had time to watch Sugar Ray Leonard look like a young Muhammad Ali, watching Mike Tyson hit like George Foreman, making fighters pray on their knees. I've had time to listen to Minnie Riperton take me back down memory lane, singing notes that last forever, like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I've had time to watch Michael Jordan float effortlessly in the air as if stepping on the notes of a Miles Davis tune, staying suspended in the air like the smoke in a cigar-filled room. I've had time to watch Carl Lewis take off like the Roadrunner in a Saturday morning cartoon, running at the speed of light. Could have sworn I seen him standing on the moon. I've had time to listen to Stephanie Mills sing her song Home, always feeling like she sang it to me first. I think God was listening to her sing while he was creating the heavens and the earth. I've had time to watch Paul Robeson sing. I've had time to watch Jackie Robinson sing. I've had time to watch Dorothy Dandridge move and watch Lena Horne do her thing. I've had time to listen to Melly Mel lyrically paint the picture of every ghetto USA. I've had time to get ready to listen to politicians speak, knowing I wouldn't believe a word they had to say. I've had time to listen to my own thoughts, as if speaking to me in an Ozzie Davis voice, letting me know there is always a fork in the road, reminding me to pause and to make the best choice. I've had time to listen to Martin Luther King speak, resonating like thunder, shaking the concrete, bringing joy, pride, and strength to my soul, all the while realizing he would never live to be old. Memories of my sister and brother up in heaven playing spades with one another, knowing he's making sure she's okay, just like a big brother. Whenever you get a second, ask yourself this question. Have you ever been changed when history and time teaches us a lesson? Remember, something as beautiful as a rose has thorns. Something as powerful as money has wrongs. When slavery was going on, they sang songs. Something as troubling as life, we wish long. Watching time on my side, watching time pass me by, watching the methodical movements of the hands of time, watching time tell me it's my time to shine. Time. Thank you all for your time.
Okay, now you said that this was your first time. Come on, really? Oh man, that was incredible. Thank you so much for that. This was actually Helen Higginbotham's first time sharing also. So I just want to thank you, Helen, so much for that. And Helen, Suzanne, and Lois and I was on the radio last night with Gianna Volpe, WLIW 88.3 FM, and we had a ball. Maria Anderson has that beautiful poem of her son, so I'm going to ask her to read that. And Coyote Lee will be coming up later on in the evening as well. Okay, so I'm going to ask Maria to please share that poem for us.
Okay, I found it. It took some digging, but I found it. All right. This one is called My Elephant. You can hear him in the background. Traditionally, elephants are majestic creatures with long trunks and beautiful brown eyes, memories to last a lifetime, and hearts as big as trees. Then there's my elephant. My elephant is 2 feet tall. He has beautiful brown eyes that could see into your soul. His memory only lasts a few hours, and he runs into walls. My elephant plays with cars and his laugh is infectious. He has a smile that can brighten anyone's day, and he loves hugs. Normal elephants can't jump. Mine jumps off everything. Elephant hearts are 22 to 27 pounds. Mine weighs 25 pounds total. Like cats, elephants purr. Mine growls when you try to take his food away. My elephant has a cute smile and a funny personality. He loves to play and laugh, and he never stops moving. My elephant is the light of my life. He's my good and my good luck charm. He's my bad and my ugly. He's my morning, noon, and night. He's my gray hairs and my headaches, every single one of them. He is my stress and my bliss, but honestly, I would never ask for it any other way.
Yay. Thank you so much for indulging me.
It's a nickname. It means lucky.
I love when mothers talk about their children. I mean, you could just see them glow. It's like a out of this world glow. And so a shout out to all of our mothers, and we honor all of our mothers today. El Tanya, I honor you. Mother Watts, I honor you. Mother Mardell Hobbs, I honor you. I honor so many, of course, my mother and my mother, Anna James, and Aunt Susie, I honor you all. Aunt Mary, I honor you. I'm not going to take up all the time because I have so many people to honor. So I'm going to move on. Evelyn, did we get to you yet? Evelyn, are you going to read?
Yes, I have something.
Okay,
Yes.
read. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. This is my first time, and I have to thank Judy Turek for having listed this on her email. So that's how I found you. I would like to honor Tracy K. Smith, who was Poet Laureate of the United States a few years ago. And I honor her because, first of all, she's got the best smile in the entire world. But secondly, instead of doing readings to the elite, she would travel the states to places that wouldn't normally have a poetry reading, that wouldn't normally have anybody notice them. So I honor her for that. And I also met her in New Jersey years ago. So that's my honor. And I had a poem of my own to read, but I changed which one I'm going to read. And I'm also in the middle of a book by Denez Smith. I think that's his pronunciation. And this is a very short poem. So could I do that and mine?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. All right, here he is. He doesn't soften things. It won't be a bullet, becoming a little moon, bright, warm in me one night. Thank God. I can go quietly. The doctor will explain death, and I'll go practice. In the catalog of ways to kill a Black boy, find me buried between the pages stuck together with red stick. Ironic, predictable, look at me. I'm not the kind of Black man who dies on the news. I'm the kind who grows thinner and thinner and thinner until light outweighs us and we become it. Family gathered around my barely body, telling me to go toward myself. So that's Denez Smith. And my computer just went dark. Let's see if I can get me back. This is written in the voice of me as a young child.
Okay.
Living in a white bubble. Memory knows before knowing remembers. That's a quote from William Faulkner. I never thought about it, that there were no people where I grew up in a little place, between a parkway and a road. It was just a couple of blocks of small houses, and there was a hill. We would go sleigh riding in winter. I learned to ride my two-wheel bike. My mommy was a nurse in white. She worked at a hospital for children. My father was a painter of houses. He went looking for painting jobs. Our house was nice, with a second floor. I climbed stairs to go to bed, but I was afraid of going up in the dark, even though I was in kindergarten. There were no Black kids in my class. We were kids living in a white bubble. I didn't see any Black people until we moved when Mom went to a hospital. Dad and I went to a different street that wasn't so nice. We didn't live in a house by ourselves. Dad and I lived in a junky apartment where other people lived in the building. I went to a different school with Black kids in my class, but they didn't like me. I felt funny. They chased me home after school and yelled, "Let's get Whitey." The bubble was broken.
Wow. Wow. Powerful. Wow. That was quite interesting. Thank you so much for that. Susan Dingle is our founder, the brainchild of Poetry Street in 2014, and I'm going to ask her to please say a word or two and a couple of a poem, please. And I know that we're close to our being out of time, but we still have Coyote Lee coming up, and we're going to bring our feature spec as well, the other feature spec as well. Thank you, Susan Dingle.
Hi, Chip. Hi, everybody. This is such an honor to be here today. Thank you to all these amazing, amazing poets. And I would like to dedicate this reading to all of you. I've always wanted to read this. Actually, this is from a book by James Weldon Johnson. It's from a book called God's Trombones, and it was published in 1927. And it's called Listen, Lord, a Prayer. O Lord, we come this morning, knee bowed and body bent before thy throne of grace. O Lord, this morning, bow our hearts beneath our knees, and our knees in some lonesome valley. We come this morning like empty pitchers to a full fountain, with no merits of our own. O Lord, open up a window of heaven and lean far out over the battlements of glory and listen this morning. Lord, have mercy on proud and dying sinners, sinners hanging over the mouth of hell, who seem to love their distance well. Lord, ride by this morning. Mount your milk-white horse and ride this morning. And in your ride, ride by old hell, ride by the dingy gates of hell, and stop poor sinners in their headlong plunge. And now, O Lord, this man of God, who breaks the bread of life this morning, shadow him in the hollow of thy hand, and keep him out of the gunshot of the devil. Take him, Lord, this morning, wash him with hyssop inside and out, hang him up and drain him dry of sin. Pin his ear to the wisdom post and make his words sledgehammers of truth, beating on the iron heart of sin. O Lord, this morning, put his eye to the telescope of eternity and let him look over the paper walls of time. Lord, turpentine his imagination. Put perpetual motion in his arms. Fill him full of the dynamite of thy power. Anoint him all over with the oil of thy salvation, and set his tongue on fire. And now, O Lord, when I've done drunk my last cup of sorrow, when I've been called everything but a child of God, when I'm done traveling up the rough side of the mountain, oh, Mary's baby, when I start down the steep and slippery steps of death,
When this old world begins to rock beneath my feet, lower me to my dusty grave in peace, to wait for that great getting up morning. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's someone, the beautiful lady with the afro. She's on the internet. I don't know your name because you have just a website. Would you like to read a poem?
Barbara Clark.
Barbara.
Hi, Chip. It's Barbara Clark. Yes.
Hi, Barbara.
I guess I can read a. Hi. How are you? I can share a poem. Actually, I just wrote this one a couple of weeks ago. It's the last one I wrote, so I can share. It's called Whispers.
Okay.
At the peak of dawn, night yields into day. In the sky, orange sunbursts all aglow. With an open heart, I truly seek the answers to what I wish to know. With anticipation, as I sit in stillness to ponder my course and meditate, within, I clearly hear a faint whisper, dear one, your soul is now awake. They say, your countenance is filled with doubt. I see the gaze upon your face. No need for worry, neither fret, just breathe, trust, and slow your pace. Ancestors, wise souls, we are indeed in the midst to always see you through. Radiant smiles like the uneven path on every task you set out to do. You wear discontent like a shawl in moments of doubt and distress, around your weighted shoulders and across your breasts. Fear has no place, it is a sly disguise, for you are truly protected. With open eyes, look in the ocean of life, therein lies your true spirit reflected. There are times you are paralyzed, your pathway is dark and unclear. Dismantle the tightened grip, simply let go, release the fear. Let the whisper deep down in your soul guide your steps to your innate power. You are majestic, regal, and royal. Have faith, embark on your finest hour. Greatness runs through your DNA. Live with purpose, for that is your aim. Never shall you falter or lose hope. Your inner light is an eternal flame. Dear one, remember what you reap. No doubt you will also sow. Move forward and proclaim your gifts. In your heart, I believe you already know. In this moment, the words cling to my lips. I whisper, you are golden, no way for you to lose. Dear one, just remember who you are. You only have to take the steps to choose. My metaphoric arms will embrace you. Simply feel the yearning in your soul. Live your life in its fullness. Be beautiful, be brave, be bold. Thank you.
Wow, that was incredible.
I've heard this woman, seen this woman perform. She's a powerhouse. You're gonna love hearing Coyote, and Coyote is she's so many things. Honestly, these intros, we could spend the hour, but she's a performer, a poet, a sultry soloist, a songwriter. She tours with mainstream artists. She's an activist and an organized protester for equal rights, stop and frisk, racial arrest, murder by arrest, and she's also an advocate for school budgets in the arts on the East Coast. Truly a force to be reckoned with. Let's welcome Coyote Lee.
Hi, Poetry Street. I'm back, baby. It's such an honor to be here, and I apologize. Let me cut my talk down a little bit because I know we are at the end of our show. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and please bear with me. At this time, I'm on my way to work, so I'm going to have to do some stuff off the top of my head that I memorized, if that's all right with you all. So I have a poem. I don't know if some of you are familiar. I know there's a handful who's familiar with my style. I like to do poetry with a mixture of song. It's kind of my specialty, my comfort zone. So today I'm going to give a little bit of both. This poem that I'm about to do is called In My Grandma's Kitchen. And today with this poem, I'd like to honor her, my grandmother, Jackie Lee, who passed away on Christmas, December 2020, excuse me. And in the same poem, at the same breath, I would like to also honor Malcolm X. And after you hear it, you'll understand why. Okay. In my grandma's kitchen, in my grandma's kitchen. Oh yeah, we did some good living at that table. She put good food and some bread to keep us stable. Let me tell you something about Jackie Lee. That's a force of nature to be reckoned with. If you've ever met a woman of color who is full of stories and history, this is one of them. She walked around with that Cherokee look, silver, silky hair going down her back most of my life. I don't think I ever saw black on that scalp, but I did see it in her skin. I heard it in her words. I saw it in her walk. I saw it in her curves, and I felt it in her embrace every time I went to my grandma's kitchen. As a child, I was told all the time, get out the kitchen, girl. Anybody ever told you, get out the kitchen? Folks only. Sunday during dinner time, kids can sit in there. But baby, during the weekday, go on and get up out that kitchen. In my grandma's kitchen, everyone gathered, everyone cried, everyone sat still, and everyone told their lies. And she clocked you with a look in her face and a chink in her eyes. She clocked you. My grandmother was so full of stories, all you could do was sit there and listen. I sat bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, listening to every piece of history that she could have laid down on me. My grandmother, even though I met her in the South, is from the North, baby, Harlem's finest. And in Grandma's kitchen, I found out Grandma's kitchen was full of stories. Honey, back in the days when she was just a child, she loved the swing club. She loved the sound of music. She loved to walk down the street in Harlem during the times where suits on men was a thing, where ladies was treated like ladies and doors was open for you as you walked down the street. My grandmother was so bad. That's how my great grandmother put it. She was so bad that she would sneak out the house. She would go to places that she wasn't supposed to go. My grandmother had one story that had me on the floor to the point where my mother said she gotta go and my grandmother said stop. She needs to know the truth. At 12 years old, she snuck out of school. 12, y'all. Please understand. I don't know what year it was, but I know it was the year Malcolm X was speaking in Harlem. So let's clock that. She snuck out of school. She went and got her friend to go sneak out of her house. They got up, dressed up in their finest with her little baby pea coat and her ribbon socks. She went down to a hall on 125th Street just to hear Malcolm X speak. In my grandma's kitchen, in my grandma's kitchen, I heard all the good living about Malcolm X. Oh, I sat down quietly at that table. So, as she snuck around, going around the streets of Harlem at 12 years old, she finally got the opportunity to sneak into that hall. She sat in the back, and when she sat back there, her friend, being 13 years old, said, why are you back there, girl? Come up here and sit next to me. Little did she know she was going to be sitting right behind Malcolm X's family, looking at his daughters, looking at his wife, looking at him only 2 seats away, so close you could touch the words that was coming out of his mouth with with surprise, with black pride in her eyes. She sat there and she soaked it all up. And all of a sudden, as she got to the height of the speech, filled with glory, ready to clap her hands as if she was in church, she saw a man stand from behind her. While everyone shouted and screamed, singing, glory, speak, preach, brother, no one noticed but herself that someone was the only one who was not moving. He didn't praise, he didn't speak, he didn't smile, he didn't teach. All he wanted to do was stand there and stare. Bow, bow, bow. My grandmother dropped to the floor, covering her head, praying to herself that she wasn't shot. Her best friend snatched her by her back, dragged her halfway through the crowd, frantic, running around, saying, my God, Malcolm was shot. Malcolm was shot in my grandma's kitchen. In my grandma's kitchen. I was listening to a story of a victim. I was listening to a story of a witness. I was listening to a story of a woman who wasn't supposed to be here today. She sat there and she told me of all the feelings that rushed through her. She sat on the floor, she crouched down with her friend in the corner, hoping and waiting there was a moment where somebody would grab them. Grab me, please, she said in her head. Someone snatch me. Where is my mama? Where is my dad? Nah, you're an adult now. An adult experience is what she took. She took that moment and she said, I don't care. I have to go hear him speak. I have to go change this neighborhood. I got to embrace the black power in my heart. And at that same time, her innocence was snatched away. just like Malcolm X's breath. In my grandma's kitchen, in my grandma's kitchen. Oh yeah, we did some good living at that table. The good food and some bread so we could be stable. There are times in my life when I wish I could reenact the stories, the words, the embrace that my grandmother had. But at the end of the day, when you have someone who lived through history, when you have someone who was history itself, there's no real way to replace that. All you can do is just pass on those stories. And hopefully my kitchen will be as powerful as my grandmother's kitchen. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much. Your delivery, Coyote, your storytelling is just amazing. Your singing, girl, I love you and thank you so much. And I know that you got a shift that you wasn't scheduled. That's why you were waiting. And I'm glad that you at least came on and said something, and you said something powerful, and we honor you today. Now, we're going to end with Helen saying goodbye, Lois saying goodbye, and Suzanne saying goodbye to you all in that order. Helen, Lois, and then Suzanne. And you could just tell about how they can get in touch with you and about your organization. Thank you, Helen Higginbotham.
Thank you. That was powerful. Wow, Malcolm X. So this is a piece that I wrote some time ago, also while I was living in Harlem, and it was published in the Amsterdam News. So it's kind of appropriate because it calls out our heroes. So a few days ago, I got off the number 3 train at the newly renovated 145th Street station in Harlem. It's all shiny, brand spanking new, well lit and adorned with beautiful ceramic tiles featuring murals of Black art. One would think that as a resident, I would be excited about these improvements that are accompanied by new sidewalks and newly paved streets popping up all around Harlem, but I'm not. Instead, I know that despite Black folks having lived here for ages and holding it down, never were we respected as a community of taxpayers worthy of such cleanliness and or fancy new upgrades. Instead, the improvements smacked me in the face as signs of the inevitable gentrification of Harlem and most American cities, and the perception that dignity, respect, and attention is more due some taxpayers who are poised to take over the community than others. So now the city and MTA authority can find interest in resources for improvements even when or where none seem necessary. Although I resented and was certainly appalled by how dirty the subway stop was, knowing that it had not been properly cleaned or resurfaced in decades gave me an odd sense of pride. I was walking in the footsteps of Black heroes and dignitaries who made Harlem historical, such as Malcolm X, Zora Neale Hurston, Cab Calloway, Langston Hughes, James Baldwin, Ossie Davis, Ruby Dee, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and too many more to mention. They too had surely stood on that dirty platform and traversed those filthy stairs, somehow washing away the buildup of debris and covering it with new shiny paint and beautiful ceramic tiles in a sad and very irrational way, also washed away some of our history, as is happening in so many of our urban centers throughout the country. Oh, if only those subway walls could have talked. Living while Black in America, it sure ain't easy.
It sure ain't easy, and we do it every single day. Happy Black History celebration, and Lois Moses.
Yeah, I'm filled. I'm just going to say good night. My email is my name. My website is my name. She has some of my films that I'm doing. Is Lois, www.loismoses.com. And thank you all for this opportunity. But I feel like for me, the air is full. And all I want to do is digest. And I have to get in touch with Sister. That poem, Grandma's Kitchen, got some stuff coming up. I want to be in touch with you. Okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Helen, you were amazing. Coyote, you were amazing. Lois, you were amazing. And Suzanne, come on, say something to us.
Great audience. Love you, Chip.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I will just say good evening and thank you so much for the gracious greetings. And I want to reiterate what I said earlier. I'm wishing everyone well. I know we're in a pandemic, and so people may be at different places. If you need a word of encouragement, I just want to say the sun does shine behind the clouds. Jesus loves you, and somebody in Minnesota is sending you warm wishes. Have a good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing? I am the great-granddaughter of Stephen Edward Moses and Della Clara Brockman Moses. That's it.
That's right. Honor them. Maggie Bloomfield, would you like to say something before we leave?
I would just like to say thank you all with all my heart. I've been so moved this afternoon. Thank you to the features. Thank you to everybody who read. Thank you, Chip. I mean, this has been a true celebration, and I'm so proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to end with this very short poem. The bitter earth has borne us all with parts of herself she reserves. Different, but also the same. We have the same blood from her, the bitter earth. Thank you so much for joining us for this Black History celebration on Poetry Street. And we'll see you next month. Please check the website for our featured poets for next month at poetrystreetontheroad.com. Thank you all. Please be safe. And Coyote, drive safely to your job. And if I didn't get you this time, please make sure you put your name, send me an email, and we'll make sure that you read next time. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Love you, Poetry Street.
Please unmute everyone and give yourselves a
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great
afternoon.
Love you, Poetry Street. Love you guys.
Thank you. Please come back and visit us.
Please come back. Come back next month.